Kalispera, Julia.
Kalispera, Kalispera. מה נשמע, עידית?
נשמע טוב. I understand. We had a bit of a delay in this exploration because we are making exploring reality 19 today.
Yes.
The 24th of January 2021. And it has been a
Yes.
while from the time we did exploring 18.
I think both of us, we had a very interesting, busy life in between.
Yes, January is interesting and intensive. And yes, so let's go into something I prepared for you today because we have to start to give some foundations, and this is why this exploration might take longer than usual. I have translated into Spanish, from Spanish into English, an interview that was done 10 years ago with Jean-Pierre Garnier-Mallet, a physicist, a French physicist, doctor in physics, specialist in the mechanics of fluids. And he's the one to publish in a Scientific American magazine in 2006, the theory of the unfolding of the time. And at the time, it was to explain the arrival of planetoids to the solar system. And in the interview, he's being asked, Jean-Pierre is being asked to explain the theory in simple terms. So I quote to you what he said.
Please.
There are two separate times at the same time. A second at a time, conscious, and thousands of millions of seconds in another time, which is imperceptible. And in these times, we can do things of which experience is being transferred then to the conscious time. We receive an instant synthesis of an analysis that I have done in the other time, even that I don't have the memory of it. In each and every present moment, I have got a time non-perceived in which I manufacture a potential future. And then I memorize and I realize it in my real time. We have the feeling that time is a continuum. We perceive time as being continuum. However, as demonstrated by the diagnosis of images in our brain, only sporadic images get printed. And between two moments, two perceptible moments, there is always an instant which is not perceptible. It's like in a film, which you can only see, we humans can only see 24 pictures per second, because the 25th we do not see. It is subliminal. Advertising has used this type of pictures to influence, successfully so, our behavior. which has shown that the subliminal is accessible to our memory. The unfolding of the time has been scientifically proven, and this theory has given justification to it in a scale from dust to the whole solar system. The phenomenon of the unfolding of the time results in a man who lives both in real time and in a different time, a different dimension. We can use the word quantum, but it will be a very vague use. So let's do it another time.
Can we use the term futuristic?
No, this also will be vague. I think that the most accurate thing we can say is that it is not perceptible to our senses.
Okay.
Okay. And in this non-perceptible time, the best potential is being memorized and transmitted to the real time, to the time that we feel with our senses. We could say that between me, conscious me, and non-conscious me, there is an exchange of information that allows us to anticipate the present via the memory of a certain future, of a certain potential that has not happened yet. In physics, this has got a name, and it is called hyperincursion. So we are unfolded particles. If we have two unfolded particles, both have the same information at the same time, because the exchange of information uses speeds much superior to the speed of light. Now let me explain that. I'm still quoting Jean-Pierre Garnier-Mallet because in the year 1920, there was a scientist, Paul Langevin, who showed that if a twin was traveling at the speed of light, he would get less old than his brother twin staying on Earth, not moving. People did not believe it, but 50 years later, in 1970, thanks to the nuclear clocks, that was confirmed. So if I can travel at extraordinary speed, a microsecond turns into a whole day. When I come back, I do not know that I have been away, since I have been absent only for a microsecond.
Right.
Now this explains dreams, right? Because in our dream, we might spend a whole month. We went and we came back, and then we woke up and it was another day, and then we traveled, and many things happened during that month. But measured with your regular watch, it would be perhaps a minute dream. And there is another property known in physics, the duality of the matter. Yes, because a particle is at the same time a body, but at the same time a wave. So we are at the same time body and wave, capable of going to look for information in different speeds. And we assimilate that information during our deep sleep, where when our brain is in its highest activity. And this is the exchange between the body and the wave. Let's say between me at the real time and me at an unperceptible time, subliminal. Now, what I get during sleep creates my next day. I don't know it. I wake up and I have an idea, or I look at my agenda, or I get a sense that the day will be like this or like that, or a solution to a problem. The exchange takes place through the water of the body. This is the exchange of information that creates the instinct and the intuition, and they are not the same, because the instinct is placed in your left and is to do with keeping you existing, and the intuition is placed in your right and is meant to lead you to your best future. Now, Jean-Pierre Garnier-Mallet was asked about manufacturing potentials with our thought, and his answer was positive. He's saying that, for example, I am thinking about a disaster. The potential is already included in the future.
Right.
And it will be suffered by you or by others. So, according to him, the saying, do not think to do unto others what you do not want others to think of you, it's not moral and it's not philosophical, it's physical. Now, during the day, I'm mostly conscious in my real time, but just before I fall asleep, I got this very short period of time that in it I can connect to that part, which in the case of Jean-Pierre, it was called the double. Okay, so I connect with my double. Now the interviewer is asking, is it like praying? And Jean-Pierre answers, no, it is a relationship. And we need to leave completely the reins to the other. The nights are for that. The night not only allows you to erase unwanted potentials, but we also guide the thoughts of the next day. The theory of the unfolding of the time allowed to explain the arrival of planetoids near Pluto, but Garnier goes much further and tells us that this theory applies to our lives. We have a body, very well done, that allows us to project ourselves into the future, go to see the future, fix it, and come back to live it. And it is during the night when we have the ability to fix this future that we have built during the day. We can anticipate things the next day via our intuition. So this is an extract from that interview with Jean-Pierre Garnier-Mallet, and I thought to add from my own adding up about intuition, because we are not speaking about intuition for guessing tomorrow's numbers in the lottery.
Yes.
Although Garnier-Mallet sometimes does, but this is the convergent logic is not for that. It is in order to absorb in advance, to be connected to the solar system and absorb in advance the resources necessary to handle our next challenges, which are our next points of growth. And if we do not absorb in advance the resources, then we get a shock from reality. It can be a big shock, it can be a small shock. Let's take something simple. The other day I was in a hurry and my head was busy with exploring reality in a morning full of conductivity, which means less functionality. We already spoke about that. It so happened that the night before, I parked my car very near a wall. I came late at night and there weren't many free spots in the street. So it was hard to maneuver the entrance into the car. Well, I opened the door of the car straight into my left eye. Now, this is reality giving me a shock. The result of me not anticipating was 2 or 3 days with a sore eye and a blurry sight.
Wow.
Now, it might seem to you a silly example, but it demonstrates the mechanics of it, because my whole bodily complex, my soma, is equipped for me to perceive reality so that I'm totally capable of opening the car's door without bumping into it. Reality has been equipping me first in the basic programming of the body that we get to live in. And secondly, since I was born, especially in the first year of life, all of the measurements get loaded day by day into the system, the hands, the legs, the muscle, the coordination, all the basic functions of mobility. All of this comes from the right in an abstract manner and gets loaded in the left in a concrete manner. Right is what hasn't happened yet, and left is what has happened. This is usually how the neurology stores the past in our left and the future in our right. So my left eye is to do with my past. Getting a shock in my left eye means something requiring updating about the perception of my past. Is this bad or good news? Well, looked at it from the future, it is an indication of what my best future needs me to reframe in my past. So this is excellent news. It marks me my limit. And in this case, the need to slow down, to see more in what has been, and what can this serve my position today and the objectives that my best future provides. With the new logic, we reframe and we write the past. We rewrite, it's being rewritten because we see it from the future and we give it a new meaning. Something that looked like a mistake or something bad, all of a sudden I notice from the future perspective that some incident or project or proxy provided me the training necessary for something I need today.
Absolutely.
And you and me, Julia, had such an experience. We went on a certain project very much in an unknown, unconscious manner, which means that we were being dragged into it, and we labeled it with a certain purpose. And I would say that we did it with a lot of talent, yeah? But now we have a new depth with which to understand what is actually talent. Because talent is having a lot of past spaces that are aligned with the best future. And therefore, they get updated very quickly. Unless there is an interference, unless I interfere, because at that time we could say, well, no, this is not something for us to do, or no, this is not what I dream, or it's not a right moment, it's not the right company. It's, you know, the fact that you do get into a new project means you've been absorbing and adopting all the necessary infrastructure to sustain it. And when reality bumps into you, it means you haven't. And you are trying to do something that you did not get a green pass to do, which is great news, because it's a moment of connection. It's a moment when someone tells you, wait a minute, you cannot go here. You don't have all the necessary things that are required. So it's like you call to get a visa and they tell you you need to send this and that and that, and you understand, I'm missing something.
It's the same with intuition. It is that moment that there is a guidance without much explanation or definition that you are at the right moment, the right time, and you should respond to this call. Right. You don't even see that it is a call in the beginning, but you are already in it. And this is another way that intuition speaks to us. And this is how actually we started a few years ago. Actually, you called me, and then I said, why? And then in a minute, I knew that this is a project to do together.
Yeah. So again, about bumping with reality, yeah, preferably to connect in a more elegant manner. But hey, even the car into your left eye is a moment of togetherness. It's a limit that you respect, that you take notice. Maybe you notice that you've been abusing yourself rather than listening. It's a moment that you accept. It's a moment that you stop, knowing that as we expand our consciousness by seeing more, seeing the instant, the imperceptible instant between the two moments in reality, then the limit withdraws. And all of a sudden, what we didn't succeed the day before, we succeed today. Exactly in the same way it works with our psyche. There is a saying in Hebrew that goes, the writing was on the wall, probably in other languages as well. And yes, all the information was there. Many people spoke about the global pandemic. As an example, Professor David Pasig, an Israeli futurist, Frank Snowden, an American historian of pandemics. He had already published that pandemics are a mirror of society. So they offer an opportunity to see what doesn't work, that in the daily race we don't see because things get so camouflaged. So let me say that we are in a time of structural change. And we'll get to it in our next explorations. What is the meaning when we say a paradigm shift? What is the meaning of structural change and not just a shift of content? Because it's not the same. And the way to start to work with one's intuition, with one's double, is very important at this time. It has been so, but at this time in particular.
Yes.
So this is our message for today in Exploring Reality 19. It was a pleasure to spend time on this and with your companionship. And thank you for your time, Julia.
Anytime. It's lovely, lovely entry into this. Thank you very much, Edith.
Thank you. And until next.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye.